Paid up additions and term insurance. You're probably thinking, what are you talking about, Chris? I'm talking about PUAs and term insurance. That's what I'm talking about, but specifically term riders. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about you becoming your own bank and taking back control of your money. But to do that, we have to become the bank, which means we need to stop giving the bank control of our money, and we need to take and give our money to a place, or put our money in a place where we are in control of that. And as many of you already know, what is that place? A specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policy from a mutually owned company that pays dividends. But I did say specially designed and engineered. You see, we have to design and engineer these machines to do what you want, and what you want and what you need to learn is the infinite banking concept. And in doing that, you must understand paid up additions rider and term riders. So let's dive in. So let's start with you becoming a bank. If you're going to become a bank, that means you're going to mimic everything that a bank does, which means you're going to make deposits into your bank. Just think of it this way, folks. Change your mind. Think as if you are a bank. Think as if you walk into your bank and your name is right on the top of the building that you're walking in. And you walk in there. What do you see? Well, what you should see is a whole bunch of people taking deposits. Matter of fact, in your bank, since it's just you and your family, there's only one bank teller. And who is it? It's you. And you got a big old smile. And what you're going to do is you're going to control the direction of where those deposits go. So the first step in being your own bank is changing one thing, and that is where your money goes first. So you give your money to you, the bank teller. Your bank teller is going to then do what? Well, your bank teller is going to make that money go to work for them, because you are now in control of that money, because you own the bank. Now, what are you going to do with that? Now, if this is your bank and your life, let's think about all the places where money can go to work. Well, if you were looking at a traditional bank and you were thinking as if you wanted to be like their bank, what are the number one places banks make money? Well, banks, in many cases, issue credit cards. And credit cards charge high interest rates, so why don't we start there? Although your bank can't issue a credit card, your bank can take back control of the money you were giving to credit cards. So the deposit you made into your bank, what we're going to do is we're then going to pay off debts, starting with high interest rate debts like credit cards. And when you pay off the credit cards, the money's going to come back to your bank. The same dollars you used to give away are going to flow back into your bank with your name on it. But I just got ahead of myself a little bit. Let's take a step back. When you first walked into your bank, I need you to understand that your bank is not a bank at all. Your bank consists of a specially designed and engineered whole life. That's where you're going to put your money. You're going to give your hard-earned savings to a giant mutually owned insurance company. And you're going to give it to them because they're not a deposit institution. They will not take a deposit unless you understand how privatized banking works. And that is where the whole life insurance policy starts. Now, let me pause real quick. Before we get into this, I want right now to ask you for a favor, and that is click that little button. Right there it says subscribe. I want you to just think about that button when you click on that. Dollars and cents. That's what I want you to think of. So click that subscribe button, and right above there's a little bell. And that bell, I want you to smash that bell. And I want you to smash that bell because that will notify you every time I put a new video out. And there's going to be a video coming out soon that's all about where banks put the majority of their tier 1 money. It's called BOLI. And once you do that, you're going to be like, yeah, I got this. Ooh. Anyway, it's okay because, hey, we're not playing with their bank anymore. We've got our own bank, but we need to design and engineer the machine that we're going to put our money into and take our money out of. And that machine is a whole life insurance policy. But we got to design it and engineer it so it has high early cash value. Why? Simply because that's what a bank does. Banks put their money in a product called life insurance. That life insurance for a bank is called BOLI, bank-owned life insurance. We're not going to talk about that in this video. That video is coming in the future. But I want you to understand that the place where banks put the majority of their Tier 1 capital, which you can look up in FDIC.gov and search BOLI, you will find list upon list of all the banks that put money into life insurance, specifically BOLI. You, as an individual, cannot put your money in BOLI. That is reserved for banks and institutions, but you can design your policy, your specially designed and engineered whole life to look just like the BOLI policies. And what do the BOLI policies do different than yours? They have high early cash value, meaning when we make deposits into our policy, and I don't care how you make deposits. I do most of my deposits monthly. You might do them with a giant chunk of money. You might be like, hey, I got all this money in their bank. I'm gonna do a dump-in into my policy. Great, that's called a dump-in. Where does that dump-in money go? Well, you already said, Chris, you said it goes to the whole life policy, which is the insurance company. Yeah, but you see, we gotta design the whole life policy to have maximum cash value and efficiency. And how we do that is through a rider, a special rider called paid up additions. That means that instead of giving all of our deposits to the insurance company and having them use the majority of that to pay for cost of insurance, we want our money to bypass the cost of insurance and go directly into the insurance company's general account. Well, and that rider is called paid up additions, commonly known as PUA. Not like PU, like the toilet that you just made a deposit into this morning, but you can think of it that way, except for the deposit you're going to make is hard, cold cash. PUAs, paid up additions. Now, when you put your money into that paid up addition rider, that money becomes immediately available in the next 30 days. Why 30 days? Well, because we cover ourselves. I want to give you the worst case scenario, and I want you to have a better result. Most deposits into paid up additions are available immediately when your check clears. But if I tell you that it's immediately in the first 30 days that we put our money in there, and now we can take about 90% of that money back out immediately in the first 30 days, I will never let you down. I want you to think back to any other life insurance policy you put your money into. Let's start with term insurance, because that's what Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman say, and that's what a lot of them say, right? Put your money in term and invest the difference. So let's take our savings and let's give up a tiny little bit of our savings and put that into that term policy. Why? Because we need to protect our life. We're protecting our life for our family so that if I die too early, my family gets a check tax-free when I die, if it's designed right. But then what do they tell us to do? Take the difference and invest it. Well, what do you want to invest in? Do you even want to invest? Wouldn't you prefer the rest to go into a guaranteed place that paid you a good interest rate, like maybe 5%, right? Wouldn't that be great? Maybe even better than 5% would be really nice right now. And wouldn't it be even better if that guaranteed account that you just made that deposit into, the difference of what the term insurance didn't cost, it was guaranteed to pay you a fixed interest rate for the rest of your life? And then wouldn't it even be cool if that place where you put that money paid you dividends every single year? Although not guaranteed, they still paid them every year because in the past they paid them for well over 140 years anyway without ever missing one. Wouldn't that be cool? And you don't have to take on any risk in doing that. Because Dave and Susie say buy term, because it's cheap, and invest the difference. But what if we just said buy term and put the difference in a guaranteed place that paid you north of 5%, and you got a guaranteed interest rate and dividends every year? Oh, and that interest rate and dividends were paid to you tax-free, which means if you made, let's just say 5% on your money, interest and dividends, that's like earning 7% at a 28% tax rate. Now, I'm not telling you any tax advice here. I'm simply giving you the after-tax relevance. Okay? Which means an investment would have to earn north of 7% to make the same return as a guaranteed account earning 5% tax-free. Look it up. Tax-free equivalent yield. Okay? And you'll understand what I mean. But anyway, so if Dave and Susie and all the smart gurus say buy term and invest the difference. Well, let's do just that, but let's not invest it. Let's put it into a guaranteed account, and let's put it into a guaranteed account that's tax-free, and let's put it into a guaranteed tax-free account that's protected against judgments and liabilities that also gives us access to that money anytime we want it, without any conditions, without any rules, and without ever having to fill out a piece of paper saying, I want my money back. You can have it anytime you want. Great, sounds good, doesn't it? Awesome. Well, you know what I just explained to you? Exactly how we design and engineer these whole life insurance policies for the infinite banking concept. You see, when we deposit our money, we change one thing and that's where our deposits go. We put it into the paid up additions. How much? Well, as much as you want to dump in, all goes into paid up addition. Then you say, I want to save X amount per month or per quarter or per year. Great. We're going to then figure out how much of that deposit is going to go to paid up additions and how much of it is going to go to the base of the whole life, because we have to have base. It's all about the base, baby. Because the base is what makes the most in the long run. And the base also is the death benefit. So now we've got ourselves a solution. We've got ourselves a place to put our money where it can earn a guaranteed interest rate and dividends in a tax-free nature. Plus, we've got that term that we wanted. Wait a second, Chris, you didn't mention term. Oh, yeah, sorry. Since Dave Ramsey says
people are blown away how cheap term life insurance is.
The reason to buy term is because it's cheap. Well, why don't we just buy term, but we'll do it as a rider inside the whole life policy, which then gives us more death benefit, but also helps us put more money into the policy because the IRS has this rule. It's called the MEC 7 pay rule. And all that rule says is for a period of 7 years, 7 pays, okay, we have to have a certain amount of death benefit that supports the amount of deposits we're gonna make. So the more we want to deposit, the more we need in death benefit. And what is the cheapest way to get more death benefit? Mr. Dave Ramsey, what would the answer behind door number 1 be? Term insurance. So we use a term rider. And we put that term rider on the policy for 7 years or 10 years. Why? Well, because it's for 7 years. MEC 7 pay. Therefore, we get more death benefit in the early years, and it allows our cash value to grow faster in those early years, gives us access to between 60 and 90% of the deposits we put in the policy, and allows our money to grow in a tax-advantaged environment. Some would call it a tax-free environment, but that's only if it's designed properly. And it allows us to access that money and use that money while still earning uninterrupted compounding interest. I'm not going to get deep into that. I'm simply telling you that paid up additions are how we build these policies, how we build them for maximum early cash value, how we overfund them in some words, and how we use term insurance, as Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman commonly say is the best way to do it. We use term, but we use term to increase the death benefit of the whole life so that we can throw more and more money into those paid up additions riders so we have access to more and more money so that money grows more and more, and so we can use more and more of that money to go out and make money a second time. In other words, we make money twice on the same dollars. Folks, I'm just giving you a look under the hood because that's a big old engine right there we're staring at. That whole life is like that W12 or that giant engine that's under the hood. We just want that engine to be running as efficiently as possible. Because if it's efficient, you have more horsepower to do more in your life, be more in your life, and give more in your life. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's all about the base. But don't forget the PUA. Boy, it stinks.